Okay, so we are live. The recording is here and now. So the first thing we're going to talk about, greetings. Okay, the way to say hello in Latin is salve. Everybody?
Salve.
Let's try that again. Salve.
Salve. Or salve.
Salve, yep, because the V makes a W sound. Okay, so next to that or under it, if you have space, just write hello. Okay. Now, it's not exactly a greeting, but it is a way to close off a conversation. What comes after hello? What do you say next?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah. Okay. Very similar. It's Vale. Can everybody say Vale?
Vale.
Yep. All right. So this is bye. See you later. Okay. Can you guys read my weird handwriting? Is that okay for everybody? Okay. And the size font is good too? Okay. Just double checking. Okay. Now, the next column is everybody? Questions! Yay! All right. So the first question you're going to learn is this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Repeat after me. Quid agis hodie? One more time. Quid agis hodie? Okay. That means, how are you today? Not literally, but that's what the translation would be.
What do you mean today?
Mm-hmm. How are you today? Okay, it literally means like, what are you doing today? Like, what do you go today? But that sounds funky in English. Okay, do you guys think that there is some discrepancy? Like, can you sometimes not translate something into another language? Like, it's just not translatable? Yeah, okay. There is some degree of that with Latin, but we kind of work our way around it. That's just natural when it comes to languages. Okay. Now, we know hodie means today. Everybody say hodie. Okay, please don't say hoodie or hodai. No, it's not that. That will make me very sad. Okay, so this is something else you will say. Oops. Okay, just so you guys know, quid means what?
How?
How would be quo modo? Quid is what? So what is nomen tuum? Okay, what am I asking here?
What is your name?
What is your name? Okay.
And it's because e o e orum e sus is, right? I forget. Wait, that's is that third conjugate? Is that
Second declension.
second declension?
What gender?
It's masculine.
Careful. E o.
Oh wait, is it new? Wait,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forget what it's called. Like
Neuter.
Neuter. And
Yep.
Then it would be e o. Is it dative or is it nominative?
So this is nominative.
Oh.
Yeah, because you've got the verb est here, which is like a linking verb. So you've got quid, which kind of acts as a nominative of the sentence. Don't worry, you guys will understand all of this in due time. Don't panic. It's okay. All right, so quid est nomen tuum? What is your name? All right, now, not to get too nitpicky, but I'd like you to take a look at this right here for just a second. Okay, we translated, what word represents your? Raise your hand if you know. I'm not going to call on you because I know you know. Kato? est is. Good guess though. So est is, quid is what? Olivia? Tuum. Yeah. Does anyone know any Spanish in here? Potentially? Yeah, tu in Spanish I think is you.
Two, yeah.
Tu, right?
Oh.
So it's very similar here. So tuum is your. So the word nomen then means name. Good. All right. Have you guys seen the word nomenclature before in like biology? It's an English word. Nomenclature. It's the scientific or the word to use to describe like how things are named, like the scientific names of things. So the nomenclature of like a snail would be blah, blah, blah. Usually something in Latin or Greek.
So when we put our name, do we put our actual name? Or?
It's up to you. I'd put your Latin name because, that's always fun. But yeah, so if you notice, nomen is in the word nomenclature. All right, so remember when I told you that Latin will help you with your SATs? You think I was lying? I wouldn't lie to you. Okay. But what's weird though? Okay, quid est nomen tuum? What is, like if I were to translate it word for word, what would I say? What is name your? Isn't that weird? Okay. This happens in all Romance languages as far as I am aware. When I say Romance languages, I'm talking about languages that come from Latin. Latin is the mother language, that's what people say. Okay, so does anyone know any Romance languages? Spanish is one. What's another? French. Mm-hmm. Italian. German is different.
Romanian?
Yes, Romanian, which is a weird one that people often forget, and Portuguese.
There's
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's like 38.
38 Romance languages? Like, you mean dialects of each? I believe that. That's fair. Yeah, language is kind of crazy. Have you guys seen the language tree before? No? I'll have to show it to you. It's pretty cool. So in all Romance languages, usually what happens is you've got, it's like, so for example, what I'm wearing right now, this is, in English I would say this is a brown dress, right? Brown dress. But if you were to translate that into a Romance language, you would say dress brown. So the noun comes first, the adjective comes afterward. How many of you know what a noun is? Raise your hand. Okay. Who would like to give me, I'm gonna practice names here. I gave the sheets away. Oh wait, I have them. Give me a second. Okay. A noun.
Wait, what was your question?
What is a noun?
Oh,
Kakilia?
it's like a noun is like a thing, like, and it's like it could be like an object of a name. It could be like a lot of things. But it's a thing. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Okay. The way I've heard it all my life, person, place, thing, or an idea, right? So like the idea, like love is a thing, right? But it's kind of like an idea. It still counts as a noun technically. And Latin kind of upholds that too. All right, so we've got what a noun is. Who can tell me what an adjective is? Who can tell me what an adjective is? Don't be shy. We're all friends here in haunted Latin. And I could potentially cold call. All right, Septimus, please.
It's a word that describes a noun.
Good, a word that describes a noun. Okay, so if we were going to be super nitpicky about that, nomen would be noun or adjective.
Noun.
Would be my noun. You don't have to write this, by the way. And then tuum would be my adjective. Good. Okay. All right. By the way, I don't think I actually said this. When it comes to note taking in class, if I write it, you should too, unless I specify, right? So just then when I said, like, I labeled those things and said you don't have to write it, those things you don't have to write, but whatever's up there right now, definitely have that written down. Sometimes I might have you submit notes for a participation grade, just to make sure nobody's like snoozing, just checking. Okay, any questions so far? Aside from the two on the board? All right, I'm going to scroll a little bit, but on your sheets, they're right next to each other. The next column that we're going to deal with are responses. Okay, and today we're just going to have two. Okay. When I say quid agis hodie, what does in English a response typically sound like? What does that response sound like, Kato? Hmm? I am doing well. Good. Okay, so what you would say in Latin, you would say hodie ego sum, and then blank for however you're doing, whatever adjective you would pick. Okay?
Ego means I
Mm-hmm.
Sum means like me, like.
Am. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So ego is if we want to get like nitpicky about it, because Latin, what's going to happen? You're going to find that Latin kind of makes you aware of the different types of words that exist. So for one, you don't have to write the arrow in what I'm about to write about ego, but this is technically what we call a pronoun. Pronoun. Okay. And sum is just a plain old verb. Okay. I could leave the ego out if I wanted to, and I could just say sum. Sum by itself does mean I am. But if you want to emphasize, you could say ego sum. Okay. All right, so this means today I am whatever you are today.
Bene.
Bad day?
Bene.
Bene. I was going to say, bad day already? Okay, bene is good. All right, now if I ask, quid est nomen tuum, how would you respond to that in English?
What's your name?
Yeah, what's your name? And then the response would be,
My name is.
blah, 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 right? Okay, so what we would say then is, it's a little weird. I'll translate it literally for you, and then I'll tell you kind of how that works. Mm-hmm. Okay, repeat after me. Mihi nomen est. One more time. Mihi nomen est. Okay, so literally what this means is the name to me is. Don't worry about it. The way we're going to actually translate it just for now is my name is. Okay. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, what is the last column on your worksheet? Adjectives. Good. Okay. Now, when you guys were looking at the Roman nomen sheets that I gave you when you picked your names, did you notice something funny about some of the names, perhaps? Take a look. You have that sheet with you. I'd say take a look and see if you can notice either a pattern or something interesting. And then raise your hand when you come up with something.
Like I noticed some of the names. There's like some male version, female version.
There's male and female versions. Good. Can you give me an example from that sheet?
Like the first name of male and first name female.
Try it. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Okay, so you don't have to write this. Okay, so we've got Kaikilius and we've got Kaikilia. Okay, can someone give me another male-female example?
Well, it reminded me of Lucius Caecilius or Lucii Caecilii.
Okay, so we would have Lucius and Lucia.
Or Lucius, I guess.
Yeah, Lucius and Lucia. All right, can someone give me another example of name pairs, male and female? Kato? I'm sorry, say it again.
It's Achilles and
Okay, Achilleus and Achillea. Okay, so we've got, interesting, gendered words, kind of, right? Okay, now how many of you have seen the word disciple in English? You guys seen the word disciple?
DC.
It's like
Disciple, right? It's a student.
Magistra is teacher.
Yep, but specifically a female one. If I had a mustache, I'd be a
Oh,
magister.
well, yeah, my teacher was, I think she was female, so she would be
She would be magistra, yeah. So discip,
first declension is,
yes. So how many of you think you are a discipulos? Oh, I think I spelled that wrong. I'm sorry. There's an extra U there. I'm thinking in English and Latin. Discipulos. Okay. How many of you think you're a discipulos? How many of you think you are a discipula?
I think I just got that wrong.
It's okay. It's okay. This is a learning curve for everybody. Because Latin, while it is rigid and has a lot of rules, it's also very like open and weird. Okay, so there's a lot to know. But don't let that freak you out. Okay, any questions on this so far?
just a comment.
Sure.
A lot of like girls are named Lucia, which I guess in Latin is the feminine version of Lucius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for interestingly, you're giving me like an Italian pronunciation.
That's weird. That's how my teacher pronounced it. So
Really?
yeah.
Bruh. Oh man. Okay. It's okay. That's not your fault. That's nobody's fault. One other rule. Listen to the way I say it. Kai kilia. Lucia. Akileos. So C's make what letter? K. They sound like a K. Discipulos. It's a hard K sound. In Italian, it would be, I don't know, like
Lucius.
Lucia or Lucius, but this is a far cry from Italian. Sorry, I had to. Okay, let me get rid of this. Bye-bye, silly guy. All right, so let's talk about some adjectives. Now, because there are both males and females in this room, I'm going to give you two forms of each word, okay? So you kind of get used to seeing it that way. All right, so the first adjective we're going to learn . Okay, there's bonus and bona. Okay. This is the word for good. All right, so you could say, I am good today.
Bonus fortuna.
It would be bona fortuna. Because remember the ending, when it's an adjective, it will change to reflect the noun that it's going with.
Oh, right.
Yep. Okay. Now, the opposite of that is bad.
Mal.
Very close. Malus
Oh, malus.
and mala. Which is also funny because mala is the word for apple. So, I don't know. I didn't make that up. Yeah, apples, they can be. They've certainly caused trouble. And anyone heard about the judgment of Paris and the Trojan War? Yee.
Yes.
I was thinking about Adam and Eve.
And that too. Yeah, apples are just like not great.
Oh, and Snow White.
And Snow White, yeah, another bad apple.
Not all apples are bad.
A mala, a bad apple. Just kidding. Okay, so this is bad. All right, the way to say okay, you would say medios or media. Okay.
Kind of like medium.
Yes, exactly like medium. Or in math, you calculate
Median?
the median. What's the median?
It's like the middle bound.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's not the average is like when you add them and divide the median is like you're given the set of values and you find the one that's like in the middle.
Exactly. Yep, it's the middle value. Okay, so this is, we're just going to say it means okay.
There's a lot of connections between Latin and English. Like, I bet you could find, for most Latin words, an English kind of derivative.
Absolutely, yeah. So if I were to say, just to give you an example, you don't have to write this part. Bona fide. If something is bona fide.
Or even bonus.
Or like a bonus on a quiz, yeah. Okay, something good. Or bona fide, it's like in good faith that it is correct, right? That's kind of a double derivative here. If you have mal is a prefix, good. Malcontent, right? Are you Are you good with the way things are?
Or malnourished.
Or malnourished, right? You're nourished bad. That's kind of how that goes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so good. So keep kind of like with that in mind, when we learn new words, try and keep your minds open and think English. Like if you've seen a word that's similar, ask about it, bring it up, and we can check on it. We can look it up. Okay. Sometimes there are words that are similar in English and Latin, but they don't actually come from.
Oh yeah, like ambular means to walk in Latin, but it has nothing to do with ambulance.
Actually, I think it does. I think it does, because back in the day, they didn't have vehicles, so who would carry the injured on a stretcher? Walkers.
Oh, walkers.
Yeah, ambulare is to walk. So like an ambulance would be somebody
I was struggling
walking,
with that
someone being walked, I guess. Yeah. So that sometimes like the connection, like it's a little bit of a stretch, but it does make sense once you get there. Okay. Those are always fun to talk about.
Like weenus. Is it weenus? It means like wine.
Yeah.
And we have like vineyards.
Exactly. Yep. There's going to be a lot of words like that. I'm excited for you guys to learn some. Okay, now this one's kind of fun. Oh, whoopsie daisy. Come on, you. There you go. Sanus or sana means healthy.
Same.
Yeah, if you are sane in mind and body, are you probably doing pretty well? Yeah. Okay, which is the opposite of insanus, which looks like insane. Okay, now sometimes I heard the word prefix being thrown earlier. Okay, this in the beginning of insanus is a prefix. Sometimes it negates, right? It makes negative whatever that value is. So sanos is healthy. Insanos then is unhealthy or not healthy. Yes. Okay. May I scroll past bonus and malus? We good with those? Okay, bye. All right, this one I'm sure some of you are today. It's okay.
Nervous.
Tired.
Oh. I don't think it's nervous.
There is a word for nervous, but it's funny. It could potentially mean nervous. I'd have to look, because a lot of these words have multiple meanings, and it depends on kind of the context. Yeah. Has anyone had any experience with ancient Greek before?
I have.
You have? Okay. What's cool about both, well, they're both ancient languages, obviously, but what's cool about it, if you were to compare the vocabulary for both, Latin has like one word that can mean a ton of different things depending on the context. Greek has specific words for specific things, right? So if you think about, I don't know if has anyone had Dr. Faye's class yet?
What is that humanity? What is that?
That's Bible. I'm sure he's talked about it, right? The different types of love that exist. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Like agape
Agape love. Yeah.
and like philia, right? So they have specific types of love. Like there's romantic love, there's like a sibling love, there's parent-child love, there's just like selfless love. But for Latin, there's one word, amor, and that's it.
I'm pretty sure the Greek word for offense is bait, which is exactly what, like.
For what?
The Greek word for offense, like to get offended at something, is bait, which is like funny because that's what happens when you get offended. You get kind of like baited
Into something.
Sometimes like Greek does that. Even Latin does it too.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd have to look into that one. That's cool though. Right, so let's get the word for excited. Hope you guys are excited about Latin. Okay, but just be aware, this word, komotos, it can also mean like emotional, angry, moved irrationally. It's got a whole lot of different meanings, okay? But for now, we're just going to say it means excited. Just kind of keep it simple, okay?
Like commotion.
Like a commotion, yeah. A commotion is just an excitement, right? Things are being moved. All right, here's another fun one.
Oh, angry.
Mm-hmm. Iratos irata. Okay, that's angry. As opposed to hangry, when you're hungry and angry.
So Iratus would be second declension, Irata would be first, and then Iratun would be third.
Second still.
Oh, it's us/.
Mm-hmm.
Then what is the one where it's like anything is M and A S Is that what is that?
That's third declension.
Oh.
Yeah, but also keep in, like, try in your mind, like, while we're thinking about these things, keep nouns and adjectives separate. While we're going to use similar terminology to describe them both, like they do both kind of belong to declensions, kind of, they are separate entities. So, and we'll talk about that for sure. Like this, for example, the word for sad. Okay. If we were following the pattern that we've been following this whole time, right, you would think it was like tristos trista, right? Or tristios tristia. It's not. It's tristis for both male and female, masculine and feminine. Okay, we'll talk about why that is. Just know that there are some variations. Okay, so it's not, when you're studying Latin, never say always. There's always an exception. Okay, and I got 2 more adjectives for you. Oh, sorry, I forgot to write. This is sad. Okay, now this word starts with a diphthong, A-E. How am I going to say? Aiger, aigra. Good. Yes, it's that A-E sound. Okay, this is the word for sick. Hopefully nobody is that today. Okay, and one fun one. Oops. Mm-hmm. Any Harry Potter fans in here? Okay. You know this spell? Do you know what it's for?
For the, what are they called?
Bogarts.
Bogarts, yep. Yep. Okay, this is just silly or ridiculous. Okay. All right, so let's just go through. Let's pronounce these all, go through them once, and then I'm going to have you guys do an activity together. Cool beans? Yeah? All right, repeat after me, please. Bonus. Bona. Malos. Mala. Medios. Media. Sanos. Sana. Insanos. Insana. Fessus. Fessa. Commotus. Commota. Iratus. Irata. Tristis. Tristis. Aiger. Aigra. Ridiculous. Ridicula. That one's fun. Let's do it again. Ridiculous. Ridicula. Does anyone feel ridiculous? All right. Can anyone roll their R's in here? Do you know what I mean?
I try to.
A little bit? Like it's like the thing? Yeah. No, it's like tongue placement. I'm not going to describe it. If you can roll your R's, kudos. If you cannot, that is okay. Okay, it's not going to make or break your grade. It's just kind of fun. It's fun to practice. I don't know. Does anyone like, sometimes I'll sit in my room and just be like, you know, casual like. Okay, so with that being said, you guys now have your activity sheets filled out. What you're going to do is you're going to travel around the room. And you are going to have a short conversation with a peer. So for example, can I have a volunteer? Volunteer? Okay, Kaikelia. All right, so let's say Kaikelia and I walk up to each other. You don't even have to get up. You can stay seated. This is very low-key right now. I'd say, Salve. And what would you say back to me?
Salve.
Salve, okay. Quid agis hodie? What's the response for how are you today? Hodie ego sum, and then you pick your adjective. How are you feeling? Oh, bona. Okay. All right, and then you can ask me something. You can either ask me the same question or you can ask me what my name is. It's up to you. Hodie ego sum insana. All right, now we're going to close off the conversation. Vale. Okay, does everyone kind of understand how this goes? All right, so for this activity, I would like you all to surgite. Surgite. That means get off your butts. Okay, and wander around the room and find out about your peers.
What's it called?